In British West Africa, the Gold Coast produced 1/3 of the world's cocoa beans. Africans still ran their own farms, but British companies like Cadbury's held the real power.
Their standards of quality are so high that nowadays the Gold Coast natives refer to the best of anything as Cadbury quality.
To keep costs low for British buyers, the government fixed the cocoa price, though it wasn't presented in quite that way.
All the cocoa nowadays is bought by the government, so that a steady price is given to the farmer and he's protected from the violent price changes which used to occur.
Anima Sifo grew up on a cocoa farm.
There were
a lot of British companies in the cocoa business. They sent their agents out to buy cocoa from the villages. We didn't have our own scales for weighing the beans, so we were really cheated by the agents. We had to accept the prices they gave us. The price was set by the British, and we had no say. Our hands were tied.
The Europeans needed the Africans for the work they could do. They were in no hurry to give them full political rights. At best, the British and French thought Africans might one day run their own internal affairs, but it might take 50 years. The Belgians and Portuguese couldn't conceive of this ever. The aspirations of Africans themselves changed after the end of the Second World War, which altered everything. Colonial troops had fought alongside the British to defend other parts of the empire. They became more aware of the world.
From the jungles of Burma, tough veteran West and East African troops arrive at Bombay on their way home. And their fighting skills struck terror into the Japanese. They were masters of jungle warfare.
They'd learned something else. In India, they'd seen the nationalists challenging the British. Geoffrey Adorma returned to the Gold Coast with a new insight.
Well, the Indians were very, very political. They were very political. We had conversation with some of them. They said, why are we fighting for Britain? Then we say we are fighting for world freedom. So they ask us, are you yourself free? We said, no. He said, well, fight for your freedom first. As I said, this had a very big impression on the Gold Coast soldiers. Me especially, it had a big impression on me.
The African struggle for self-rule, which would soon spread to other parts of the continent, began in the British colony of the Gold Coast, where only 5,000 Britons, mostly traders, lived alongside 2 million Africans. Trouble began when demonstrations led by army veterans turned into violent riots, and 29 were killed. The protests were turned into a mass movement by Kwame Nkrumah. A charismatic campaigner known as Iron Boy, he founded a political party and told Africans, we have the right to govern ourselves. Following Gandhi, he asked Africans to take direct action and demand self-rule immediately. He organized a boycott of British goods and a general strike. The British saw him as a dangerous firebrand, probably under communist influence, and put him in prison. The jailing of Nkrumah gave a new impetus to the campaign to replace rule by the governor through African chiefs with an elected government.
For us in the struggle of CPP, there is victory for us. Forward, ever, backward, never. In the name of great CPP, there is victory.
Komla Gbedemah, Nkrumah's friend and fellow worker, ran the party in his absence.
To prove not only to the colonial officials...
I had to organize the party around the country at the same time as keeping the machinery of the party going. But we did it all. And to help us do it, one of the tools I used was to have a full life-size photograph of Nkrumah made into 3 parts so that it makes a decent small parcel. And this I carried around as part of my paraphernalia for the campaign. Nkrumah's body is in jail, but his spirit is going on. Now, how can we not vote for such a man?
The mass action brought results. With the colony in ferment, the British finally agreed to a general election. They hoped Nkrumah would lose to more conservative opponents. In 1951, the Gold Coast voted for the first time ever for their own local assembly. There were few white voters. Because of the climate, few Europeans stayed for long or settled in the country. Nkrumah's party won a landslide victory. Reluctantly, the governor had to release him from jail. Now Nkrumah would fight for complete independence.